Hello, people. We're the marketing team of Neuros, and today we'll be taking you through everything that you need to know about neuromarketing and how it can prove to be an excellent strategy in our client's case, which is McDonald's.
In the past, what may have sounded creepy or harmful has recently emerged to be one of the most prominent approaches to produce relevant and quality advertisement. As the name itself suggests, neuromarketing, it's, it uses scientific methods to study how a consumer's brain would react to a certain scenario given a jingle or a TV commercials in a test. Consumers don't usually tell what they feel or like. Instead, 95% of our choices are made through a subconscious mind. On one hand, where the traditional marketing methods relied on consumers' conscious preferences, neuromarketing delve deep into the brain to see what the customer actually feels. The responses are, after all, tied to what the customer is going to do at the end and not just what they are going to say or think they are going to do. The impact of neuromarketing can only be measured if they are put into work on real people in real conditions. For instance, product design. When the aesthetics of a given product is appealing enough, it triggers a particular response in the brain which can be then measured using neuromarketing tools. Secondly, UX texting. One of the key moments for a consumer is what is their experience before, during, and after buying a particular product. They are bound to come back if their experience is positive, so it triggers their attention and design the website accordingly. After that comes to cross-platform testing. It is important to cater across all the platforms where such a mobile generations can be reached. We being Gen Z, we are not just glued to a TV screen or a computer screen for all the time. So they must be targeted on multiple screens. So the neuromarketing can understand which platform is more favorable. Nextly, TV commercial optimization. Every second counts. So through neuromarketing, it is important to optimize the efforts in creating effective TV commercials or advertisement. Nextly, rebranding. Data doesn't lie, and using the research properly can recreate a brand image like never before. So it helps a brand with strong foundations to build something different new using these ideas. One of the best examples which I think I can give is Pepsi, which has just changed its logo and created a lot of effect and increased the market a lot. The race model, which is the reach, act, convert, and engage, which also happens to be our main model in digital marketing for a client, McDonald's. The marketing campaign that will be formulating through our insights, which we have gathered through neuromarketing, will then be executed through RACE framework.
So now we're looking after how neuromarketing works. As being a marketer, we need to understand the consumer behavior. As from research, 95% of our brain's decision making is in non-conscious stage. Here, emotions play an important role in buying a product from a brand. Neuromarketing plays an important role where in customer engagement, customer satisfaction, and store management and store arrangement, which affects the consumer to buy the product. Here, marketing stimuli, right, where marketers use different strategies to convince the customers to buy their product. This is measured by different neuromarketing tools, which we'll be discussing the coming slides. Recording and analyzing subconscious responses are done with these tools. These experiences may influence the marketers to add or reduce the decision priorities of a consumer. Now we'll talk about the neuromarketing tools. It is divided into three. One is recording metabolic activity in brain, and one is recording electric activity in the brain, and the other one is without recording the activity of the brain. Both of them, which records metabolic activity and the electric activity, comes under neuroimagining tools, and the brain, which is not recording the brain activity, comes under non-neuroimagining tools. Now we'll talk about the neuroimagining techniques as recording metabolic activity in the brain, such as PET, positron emission tomography, functional magnetic resonance imaging as fMRI, and the other one is recording the electric activity in the brain that is SST, steady state topography, TMS, transient magnetic stimulations, MEG, magnet encephalography, EEG, electronic encephalography. So, when we go into the details of fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, here we'll be observing the blood levels and oxygens stored in the minds in different quarters of cerebrum. This shows the involvement of different quarters of cerebrum and how the cerebrum is responding to the market stimuli. When it comes to electric activity, EEG, the electric encephalography test does measure the electric current sent to the brain of a cell to one another. The test has an advantage over the MRI as it is a portable one. When it comes to fMRI, we can record the memory encoding, sensory perception, trust and brand engagement, loyalty and reference, and recall. When it comes to EEG, we can observe attention, engagement, excitement, emotional balance, and conjugation, including memory encoding and recognition of a customer. And the other one is without recording the brain activity, which comprises of facial coding, eye tracking, skin conductance, implicit association test, measuring physiology responses. The main is facial coding and eye tracker. In facial coding, with recognize of smallest development in the muscles when individuals respond to the marketing stimuli. And in eye tracking, this goes where the individual look when they part in the eye gaze point. In facial coding, will be observing unconscious reactions and emotions to the product. When it comes to the eye tracking, will be experience visual search, fusion position, eye movement, spatial resolution, excellent, and pupil detection. So these are the main things which we are using right now. Now we'll look how this technique helps. It is essential to investigate customer effect and mental procedure to distinguish customer interest and purchasing behavior. In setting of advertising procedure, this works accepts distinguished steps in mental procedure of consumer where advertisements can be powerful. For example, knowing the elements that inspire customer for purchasing makes advertisement process successful. Neuromarketing strategies can be measured consumer emotional reactions to advertising activities, which cause advertisers to make best advertising system to draw in the customer. This work will increase the value of promoting research by giving successful method of gauge to consumers' emotions and subconscious reactions. Here are the neuroimagining techniques and non-neuroimagining techniques are listed below, and also the references are attached.
Alright, so now I'll be taking you through a couple of real life cases of companies who achieved tremendous success by adopting neuromarketing as their marketing strategy. Now, the first one is a service which we use almost on a daily basis. It's a brand which almost every one of us know. It's the music streaming giant called Spotify. Now, do you love using Spotify? Here's where your brain probably has a lot to do with it. So a few years back, Spotify, in an attempt to conduct a neuromarketing research, partnered with this company called NeuroInsight, wherein basically they had a focus group of 600 people. Now they adopted the method of SST, which is the steady state topography, which basically helps you understand the speed of your brain's response to an external stimuli. Now, how did the research pan out? It went like this. The first insight which they got was that the speech driven genres, like for example rap music, they tend to produce more engagement, wherein the instrumental and the acoustic genres, like for example rock or progressive rock, they have more sort of an increased emotional intensity created in the brains of people. Now, what this led to Spotify doing was they could understand further as to how they can place their ads, after which songs and in which category of consumers should they be placing what sort of ads. Now they could exactly understand the placement, the timing, and the relevance of genres in optimizing the ads on the platform. Now they also understood further that 93% of the brain's engagement with podcast or musical content was directly transferred into the engagements of the ads, which basically meant that 93% of the people who consumed those ads had basically been looking at those ads right after listening to either a podcast or a music. Next up is the maker of your favorite chips, Frito-Lay, and the case of neuromarketing research. Or wait, should I say, Alexa, play mind games with women. Now, what this case comprised of was basically they wanted to know as to why Frito-Lay had more number of men customers in comparison to female, even when there is a fact that women tend to grab a snack 14% more than men. Now, what was the most crucial part here was that the idea of guilt led to a major change in the packaging design of the entire product line of Lay's. Now, basically, Neurofocus, which is the analytics company Juniper partnered with for conducting the research, used fMRI to scan the responses of the consumers which were in the focus group of Frito-Lay. Now, they got to know firstly that women tend to experience the feeling of guilt a lot more than men, and it's also in a lot of aspects that women tend to feel guilt in comparison to men. Now, they further got to know through this research that the idea of guilt-free snacking is something that could attract women to buy their chips more. But then they eventually got to know that it any which ways reminds them of the word guilt in the first place. So what they did was transition from calling their chips guilt-free to healthy snacking. And through this research, they could understand as to if they sell the products, if they sell their chips as a part of a healthy snack, more and more a number of women are likely to buy those chips. What happened as a result of this research? In 6 months, the PR campaign generated over 195 plus million positive views regarding the campaign, and they also saw a 1.8% increase in the amount of women buying their chips. So what does this make us realize? It makes us realize that the relevance of what your brain feels and how your brain responds to a stimuli has a substantial effect on how your product will be perceived by customers. Now, these real life cases, they indicate that if neuromarketing techniques are used in the correct way, then they can be an excellent option in further understanding as to what's really happening in the minds of our consumers, our potential target audience. Now, in terms of McDonald's, there are two major reasons as to why we feel adopting a neuromarketing approach could be the right way, could be the answers to our problems. First is the newly formed concept of grab and go. Today's youth, today's population ranging from 21 to 35 years, they're extremely busy. They have a moving lifestyle, usually wherein they prefer grabbing something to eat while they're moving from one place to another or they're in the middle of some work. Now, we would want to extensively know through conducting this research as to what are their preferences when it comes to the products, the kind of different foods that they would want to consume under this grab and go concept. We would want to further understand as to what sort of packaging could help us enhance our products for optimized selling. Secondly, I'd throw some light on this growing debate of burgers versus wraps. Which do you like more? What did today's youth likes even better? Was it burgers and will it always be burgers? Or maybe wraps would take over burgers? And to understand this, we would want to use neuromarketing to further have an in-depth understanding of what are the different categories, the different segments of the audience who would prefer actually wraps, and how can we sell wraps and what sort of new products can we introduce in this category. And so we feel these are the reasons wherein the response of your brains, the response of a consumer's brain to our stimuli has a direct effect on the purchase decision. And so we think neuromarketing could be the most relevant strategy to adopt for the brand at this moment.
Now we will talk about why is neuromarketing crucial to our company. So the first point is obtaining our customers' complete perspective. Traditional marketing research studies only reveal about customer perception. Online surveys, reviews, testimonials, phone calls, and responses on social media all provide an external view of how customers perceive our company. One advantage of neuromarketing is that it allows us to understand how people are feeling on the inside about a brand. We can go beyond a conventional word of mouth customer study with the various neuromarketing methods and techniques. Instead, we can look at the respondents' hormone levels, unconscious emotions, and facial and body language expressions. For example, imagine doing a questionnaire with a mind reader. Second point is using psychological reactions to improve our content. In both literature and movies, there are always particular sections that evoke a particular response from the customers. We can use triggers to identify our target audience reaction in insightful blog pieces, social media posts, email marketing, as well as photos and videos. As a result, organizations are better equipped to revise already existing content and create new successful content that is tailored to appeal to the target audience. The third point is gathering concrete and reliable data. We constantly hear stories about the effect that various business, brand, well-known products, services, etc. have on people. Nonetheless, it took years of study to mold and keep up these typical reactions. Business have a chance to focus on changing consumers' unconscious reactions by using neuromarketing to understand such reactions. Now, why is this such a crucial element? Because the consumer's decision making is based on the emotion that lie beneath the immediate response, and in the F&B industry, most purchase decisions are based on this one feeling in our brain, that is the feeling of hunger. With the aid of neuromarketing, we can gain a deeper understanding of the various triggers and responses, thereby revolving people's eating behavior and further decipher insights leading to optimized selling. Now, the last point is a potentially cost-effective tool. Now, neuromarketing might not be the most inexpensive approach, but it's certainly an economical approach in today's times. And with the accessibility that it gives to tap into the mind of consumers, it's worth every penny spent on adopting the approach.
While neuromarketing can provide us with valuable insights into consumer behavior, there are also some drawbacks and limitations which needs to be considered. The use of neuromarketing raises ethical concerns. Some individual may think that neuromarketing tricks the consumer's mind. Consumer may not be aware that their brain activities is continuously being monitored and analyzed, which raises the question about the ethics of using the data for commercial purposes. This also raises a privacy concern among the consumer. Once the marketer get access to this data, the consumer will start questioning such as, will they able to detect the buying button inside my brain? Or will they attempt to seduce us by promising higher sales? The thing is, customer getting this question is understandable as technology plays a very huge role in our lives. They still do it. For instance, Facebook sells our private data to third parties and Google continuously monitors about our whereabouts. Also, a long time ago, to understand all the waves and graphs that neuro tools gives us, you had to have a background in science, which is no longer necessary thanks to the technology, of course. It will take some efforts on your part to completely understand what all these numbers, statistics and heat maps actually mean. So we need to make it a lot simpler. Lastly, neuromarketing resources have always been expensive. For instance, a complete set of professional neuromarketing equipment now cost roughly around $1,500 rather than $50,000. It's much less than tens and thousands of dollars it originally cost. Machines like EEG and fMRI, as well as specialized expertise to collect and analyze all the data, are quite expensive too. This can make it difficult for small companies and organizations to use this technique. Now, coming on to the challenges of neuromarketing. The field of neuromarketing is just 20 to 30 years old. That is why a lot of critics of neuromarketing are skeptical about the credibility of information because it's fairly young compared to the other scientific fields. There's also a problem of data fluctuation and unpredictability. What works for one person might not work for the other. And to ensure the high ROI, you cannot just place your bet on something which might change from one experiment to the other. Neuromarketing studies often involve small sample sizes, which can limit the generalizability of result. What works for small sample of participants may not necessarily work for larger population. Also, the environment in which the experiment is done matters a lot. The design of an experiment affects the result of the study. Neuromarketing research is frequently conducted in labs, which many of you may know is very different from real world settings. If, for example, a person sees a specific stimulus in controlled and calm environment, the parts of the brain that activates might be significantly different from someone who receives the same stimulus yet in more chaotic or unpredictable environment like a shopping mall.
By the end of this presentation, we have certainly established the strengths, scope, and the future opportunities in the field of neuromarketing and how it can prove to be essentially relevant in a client's case, which is McDonald's. Now, from packaging design to purchasing decisions to rebranding of a brand, we can safely say that brain is at the center of all the activities. And if we have a strategy which makes it accessible for us to tap into the minds of our consumers and potential audience, why not take it?